Okay, guys. So, we've been working with decimals and we have been practicing things that we've already known, things we had in our prior knowledge that we had to bring to the front of our brain. And so now we're going to talk about dividing decimals. And again, this is something that maybe some of you guys have worked with before, but it may be new to a lot of you. So pay attention, make sure you're really focused on the learning part, okay? So we're going to talk about dividing decimals today. And we're just going to jump in with a couple of examples to start, all right? So for example 1, I have 7.6 divided by 4, okay? And so over here I'm going to write my steps. My first step is to write as a long division problem. Okay, so you guys remember long division problems. You've seen them before. Long division would be saying, well, 7.6 divided by 4 is written like this. 7.6 divided by 4. Okay? The second step is to then place the decimal above where it is in the problem. Okay? So the very first thing after I write my problem, the very first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and throw my decimal up to the top. So just so you guys know, I use the house analogy for division. And so let's just pretend like this is our house, this is our front door, and this is our roof. Okay? Throw the decimal up onto the roof. Okay? Just throw it up there. Okay, now I can divide. I just do my division. Okay? So 4 goes into 7 one time. That gives me 4. Leaves me 3. And I bring down my 6. Then 4 goes into 36 9 times. That gives me 36. And I'm left with 0. So once I get to my 0, I know I'm done because I have no more numbers, right? No numbers here left to divide. 0 down here. I'm done. So my answer is 1.9. Okay? That's pretty easy. Let's try a couple more. Okay, so go ahead and write these down. Okay, pause the video. Now that you've written them down, pause the video, try them on your own first, and then after you've tried them on your own, come back and we'll work them out together. Okay? Go ahead, go pause. No, really, go pause it. All right, so hopefully you did pause it and you have now come back to see how to work them out. Okay, so first step. Write it as a long division problem. 36.4 divided by 2. Second step, throw my decimal on the roof. Now I just divide. 2 into 3, one time, gives me 2. leaves me 1. Bring down my 6. 2 into 16, 8 times. Gives me 16, leaves me 0. But just because I'm down to 0 doesn't mean I'm done, because I still have a 4, don't I? So I bring down my 4. 2 into 4, 2 times. Gives me 4, leaves me 0. Now I am done because I have no numbers left and I have a 0. So my answer is 18.2. Okay? Next one. Write it in long division form. 22.2 divided by 6. Throw up your decimal onto the roof. All right, 6 into 24 is going to be 3. That gives me 18. That leaves me with 4. I bring down my 2. 6 into 42 is 7. That gives me 42. Leaves me with 0. And I'm done because there's no more numbers to bring down and I have a 0. Okay, it's both. No more numbers and 0. So my answer is 3.6. All right. Hopefully you guys got that and that was fairly easy for you, okay? Next step. The first problems were pretty easy. And that was because there was only one decimal we were talking about. Okay, so now here's an interesting problem. We have a decimal in both numbers this time, okay? But the first step is still the same. The first step is write long division. So my long division problem is 2.45 divided by 0.007. Okay. My second step would normally be, so first step, when we have two decimals, is write long division. Now, if I only had one decimal, then if I only had the decimal in the house, then I would just go ahead and throw my decimal up. But here's the thing. We don't like to let decimals into our house. So when a decimal is knocking at our door, or outside the house, when our dividing number has a decimal, we want to get rid of it, okay? And so the process for getting rid of it is going to be changing it to a whole number. Move the decimal to change to a whole number. And over here, just right here, we do not divide by decimals. It's kind of like we don't divide fractions. Same thing. We don't divide by decimals. So this is how we change our problem. So with fractions, we change it to multiplication. But with decimals, we don't have to do that. With decimals, it's a different process. Okay, number 2 said move the decimal to change it to a whole number. So if I have my decimal here and I need to move it to a whole number, that means my decimal's got to get from here to here. So how many spots am I moving it? 1, 2, 3. Okay? But if I do it at the door, I have to do it inside the house. If I do it outside the house, I have to do it inside the house. So 1, 2, 3. Now what happened here? There is no number here, is there? Doesn't matter. I'm still going to put my decimal here, and I'm going to fill in a 0. Okay? So now my new decimal is here, and that's the number I'm going to throw it up on the roof. Okay? So step 3 is move decimal in problem. And now place decimal on top. Okay? Now I simply divide. I don't have to worry about all those zeros because they don't mean anything anymore. Okay? So it's just 7 divided into 24. So that's going to be 3. Gives me 21. Leaves me 3. Bring down my 5. Oops, I don't know why I drew a line there. Now I made it messy. Ugh. Oh my gosh. Okay. 7 goes into 35 5 times. Gives me 35. Leaves me 0. Okay, but I still have a 0, so I bring it down. Can I do anything? No. So that's my answer. I'm done. So my answer was 350. Okay, we're going to practice that again. Okay, so go ahead and write these 2 problems down. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. Once you've paused it, work them out. Try and work them out. Try and follow the steps we did in the example up here. Remember, this is an example for you to follow. Follow the steps. See how you do. And then when you come back, we'll work it out and see if you followed the steps correctly, okay? Remember, this is a good opportunity to check and see if you have understood what I've taught you. If you haven't, hopefully you'll see the step where you made the mistake, okay? Okay, so hopefully you paused it, you're back. And so, first step, write it as a long division problem. 3.8 divided by 0.16. I have a decimal at the door. I don't want a decimal at the door. Not going to let him in, so I make him move. 1, 2 spots. Here's my new decimal. I'm going to move it inside as well, because if I do it outside, I got to do it inside. 1, 2. Here's my new decimal, which means I need a 0. All right, now I just divide. Throw my decimal up there. 16 goes into 38 2 times. That gives me 32. And leaves me with 6. Bring down my 0. 16 goes into 60 5 times. Gives me 60. Leaves me 0. My answer is 25. Okay, next one. Write it as a decimal. 7.2. I mean, write it as a long division, sorry. divided by 0.048. Okay. Well, I've got 3 decimal places at my door. 1, 2, 3. I've got to move them. 1, 2, 3. Here's my new decimal. I have 2 empty spots, so I got to put 2 zeros. And then I move my decimal point up here. Okay. 48 goes into 72 one time. Oh, I might have to do a little side math for this one. Okay, let's come down here and do a little side math. 72 minus 48. Leaves me with 24. Bring down the 0. Okay, long division. Sometimes we have to do side math. There's just no way to avoid that. All right, so 48 maybe. 48 and 48 would be 96. So that means there's at least 4. Let's try 5 48s. 48 times 5. That's going to be 40. 240. Yay, it's 5. Okay. So 240 leaves me with 0. I bring down the 0. 48 goes into 0 times. So the answer to my problem is 150. All right. Hopefully you are aware of how you're doing, and you will keep practicing with this. There's really no shortcut. You have to learn how to do this. You just have to practice it over and over again, okay? So, all right. Go ahead and practice with your assignment for today.